Welcome to Arsenal Above All. Well, that was a week that was. We sadly fell out of the Champions League to our nemesis, Bayern Munich, again. Could have been better in the way we went out, but we'll talk about that in a bit with my top guys, top gooners, Melvyn and Neil. And we're going to obviously get into it about our win yesterday against Celebration Police FC, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and everything else. But before all of that, let's go. Welcome to the show. I am so glad to have this man back. Melvyn, how are you doing? It's great to see you. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for having me on again. Really enjoyed the last time, and I'm sure I'll enjoy this.
Always a pleasure. Did you get the contract in the post? I'm not sure if you've got it yet.
Well, I had to send it back because there was no stamp on it, but I should resend it again, please.
Yeah, Royal Mail,
me a
mate.
favour,
Sorry about that, mate. Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. I know you've been busy, and it's been a joyous time for your family. So congratulations to the new arrivals as well.
Thanks very much.
Addition to the Gooner fan base. Lovely to see, and some very interesting names. I won't break it on air now, but yeah, lovely stuff. Great to see you as always. And I've also got the man, the myth, the legend, Neil Shah, champions elect 23-24. How you doing, Neil?
I'm all right. I'm really happy, not because we won, but you brought the longer intro back into your pod, so you've made my day. Thank you. Cheers, bye.
No, I know. How you
Good
like
to
that,
see
man.
Melvyn back, and obviously you, and thank you for having me on as always. Cheers, really appreciate it.
Great to have you on as always, Neil. But we'll start with just a tribute from us to the sad passing of the former Arsenal chairman, Sir Chip Keswick. He passed away, I think, on Friday last week, and obviously he was a pivotal part of Arsenal. Really from 2005 when he joined. He took the position of chairman when Peter Hill-Wood stepped down as chairman in June 2013, and he oversaw the FA Cup victories in 2017 and 2020 as well. With the latter, it was really sort of a successful end to his tenure at the club because he retired shortly after that. But yeah, he was an Arsenal man through and through. I think he attended Highbury quite regularly as a boy. I think he attended his first game in 1949. But yes, all from us from the show, and we'll pass on our best wishes and condolences to the family and friends and everyone associated with him and the club. And we'll hope that the club will make a good tribute to him on Tuesday, which I'm sure they will, because they always do things with class there. So yes, rest in peace, Sir Chips. So following on from that, guys, we'll talk about yesterday, Melvyn. Saturday night football, quite a late one. The Wolves fans looked like they were really up for it. They were very lively, some fruity songs that they were singing towards our players. I think the whole celebration police stuff, which they sort of started off, they really have taken offence to it and wanted to sort of bash us over the head with it a little bit, saying that we weren't going to win anything in the polite terms throughout the game. But following the week that we had before, following the Villa game and Bayern, how satisfying was it just to get that win over the line, Melvyn? And again, the performance, which a lot of people are talking about. For me, it's about getting the job done. But how satisfying was it that we got back on the bike and with these key games to come?
Well, really, if you've got to tick all the boxes, that was the only box that needed ticking to win. And we ticked that box. And the other boxes that we ticked, if there were any other boxes, would just been a bonus. It was so important to get the 3 points. I don't care if it come off someone's bum. I don't care if we got a fluky goal, we got a penalty, whatever it was. We had to win. No excuse had we got a draw or got beat. Could have said, well, a ref was against us, because it doesn't matter. At this part of the season, it doesn't matter. It's results that count. And like you say, going back, say, when Wenger's first, when we won the double with him for the first time, we played some fabulous football. But near the end, we had some really rocky, tough, hard-fought victories.
Yeah.
And did it matter? No, because it was the 3 points. And that's what you've got to do at this time of the season. I go to football for various reasons. We all do. We want to watch our club. We want to be entertained. We want to see our club win things. But this part of the season, I don't mind sitting at the Emirates or watching it on the television and going, just holding my fist to that hole at the end. I'll go through pain. I don't care, as long as we get the 3 points. If we play some fantastic football and get beat, no, not this part. Perhaps earlier on, that happens, but not now. We just got to win. And that's what we did yesterday. And I was quite surprised if I shouldn't have listened to the commentary yesterday, but I did. I always make that mistake. I was thinking like we were getting battered 6-0 the way the commentary was going.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Arsenal, the midweek, you can tell what it's taken out of. And I'm looking at the game, I'm thinking, I might have got the wrong game on or something. I think I'm a realist. If Arsenal are playing well, I'd say they're playing well. If they're playing bad, I'm thinking, all right, we're not wiping the floor with this mob, but we're having so many chances, non-stop chances. And they had one chance in 90 minutes. A real chance, not that one that Saliba kicked out and the guy had a shot from 34 yards, and everyone's going, "Oh my God, what a!" It was a shot. It wasn't even a chance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That save from Ray was terrific. He got a little bit of fortune because it could have gone everywhere, but he did enough for it to hit the post and come out. But apart from that, I didn't because I was frightened. But I could have been sitting there with a cup of tea in my hand and not being too worried about it, or with my little dinky out and watching the game. I wasn't like holding on to anything. But as I say, Michael, listening to the commentary, it was like we're getting battered. So I was a bit strange that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was listening to the commentary, and obviously it was our old friend Alan Smith, and I mean, I was trying to think. I'm not being paranoid, but in the second half, especially, we're jumping on a bit, but in the second half, it was almost like he was willing Wolves' equaliser into existence, because he kept on talking about it. He kept on saying the one goal isn't enough, and all it takes is this, and all it takes is one little deflection, and it was like, and he said it a couple of times. There's a couple of breaks in play, and then he said it again. It was like he was reading off a script. And this guy was willing. It was almost like he was willing it into existence that Wolves would get this equaliser. And I just found it really, really odd. And totally agree with what you said about the actual the actual performance and the numbers. And you can see it here. It just we had all the possession. We had 9 shots on target compared to their 3. We had 24 shots compared to their 5. More touches than them, more passes than them. They had more tackles. We can talk about the tackles later, because some of them should have seen a particular colour card, which was absolutely shocking. But yeah, Neil, what was your thoughts on just the performance? Because it was just Melvin's touched on it. The fact that we're in the business end of the season, and I think there's a generation of Arsenal fans who are kind of experiencing a proper title race, for the first time. It's last season and now, and it's like all the talk afterwards in Sky was about Arsenal's performance, and it wasn't that great. And it was like, well, as Melvyn said before, we've had run-ins, title run-ins where it isn't all flowers and beautiful football. You may get one game out of the last 10 that everything clicks, but a lot of it is about getting the result. Because when you look at the history books, it doesn't say that, does it? It doesn't say, oh, we had 30 shots on goal, or we played flowing football. It talks about, did you win that game or not? And is it a W, or is it an L, or is it a D? So for me, it was almost like it's another narrative. It was another little head, to bash over the head. Oh, the performance wasn't that great. But what was your thoughts on just how we went about that game? And was there a hangover, from the Bayern game, physically, mentally? it seemed like there was one or two. I think Ben White played really well. He was on it, but I think there was a couple that you saw that looked at it like it affected them a little bit. But what was your thoughts on that first half performance and your man coming up clutch again, Trossard, and the way they described his goal as well?
Yeah, I've got lots to say about that. But anyway, firstly, just addressing the way we're playing now towards the business end of the season, as you said, just for a little bit of education. So I've seen a few decades of football. Melvyn's seen a little bit more, and Michael, I think, as well, the same as me. And always towards the end, if we are with a shout, things are not going to be pretty. There's a lot of pressure on the players. There's also a bit of burnout, because you've got to remember, come April, they've been playing for quite some time. If they've been more involved in cup competitions as well, and it's a pressure thing, it's a mental thing, and you're not always going to get the 6-7 goals of total sexy football. It's not going to happen. And to be honest, I'll be honest with you guys now. For the remaining 5 games, I'll take 5-1-0s, all own goals. I don't care. If that means our goal difference still stands, and maybe Man City drop a couple of points and we win the title doing that, I don't care, because we've won the league. It's what's written on the tin, isn't it? You look at the history books, who are the champions? You don't really remember who the runners up are, and you don't remember how each and every game went. Well, of course, with Melvin's an oracle; he remembers everything. But but you just don't, do you? You just see, right, as you said, was it a win? Did you win the title? And that's what counts. And I'm sure if people are going to sit there criticising the performance, and you're right, that's all they went on about after the game, about how shocking the performance is. I remember when Man United used to be, they were dominant, and they would have those tricky games. And people would say they were played really bad, but it's not about that, because champions who are not playing well find a way to win. I didn't hear that mentioned once about us.
That's right.
I didn't hear that mentioned once about us. It's always a different narrative when it comes to us. Let me just quickly fast forward to the goal, because that really incensed me. All I was hearing, not just from the pundits, but also when they did the analysis afterwards, was how lucky that was. There was nothing lucky about it. Number one, I thought Jesus should have. That looked like a penalty to me. I might mention it in the WhatsApp group, and I don't know. I think Jack said it will never be given, but that looked like a penalty. He was brought down. He was literally bundled to the floor. But what I liked about him was how quickly he got up, and he had the foresight to just push the ball away towards Trossard, who I thought actually was very clever with that finish. Now they're going, oh, look how lucky he was, ha 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 ha. But it went in, and I suppose that's what counts. But it was so lucky, what Jesus getting the ball to him. That was so lucky. There's nothing lucky about any of it. It was a great goal, a much needed goal, considering we'd come off the back of 2 devastating losses. Look, I'm sure you two feel it as well. We lost to Villa, and I was numb after that game. I was so gut wrenched, and I felt that we are now going to find it very difficult against Bayern, because following on for that loss, you see that they might be 2 different competitions, but it's all about the momentum, and it's all about how infectious winning is and keeping that run going. And I thought, God, we're going to struggle against Bayern, and unfortunately that's what happened. And have to have 2 potentially devastating losses, not potentially, well, one that is devastating because you're out of the competition completely, and the other one leaving you literally on a knife edge, where everything has become about fine margins. You cannot now afford to make one error. Everything has to be clinical. Everything that the players do, everything that they do, and that will also naturally put an extra amount of pressure on the players. So for them to come out and do what they did yesterday, and look, let's not forget, despite what the commentary was, the narrative of the commentary was, I thought there was some good flowing movements from us. We just couldn't finish. There was some really good movement, going forward, some progression going forward. We weren't finishing. So there were some nice touches, and that became even more apparent in the second half, and especially in the last 10 minutes after Partey came on. I thought, wow, we were almost back to what we were doing, in that golden run that we had. So it's expected. It was expected. For me, like you guys, the win was the most important thing. The fact that we got another goal at the death, we got one at the end of the first half and one at the end of the game itself, that was just a bonus. I would have been happy with the 1-0, guys, but it was just a bonus for that late goal to go in as well from our captain. But I thought Trossard's goal was great. I didn't see anything wrong with it. But I was not surprised by the performance. I think they may have been a bit leggy. They may have been a bit, the confidence may have been ripped out of them for a little bit. But to be honest with you, even despite all of that, I thought they carried them as well as they possibly could. Yes, there was some mistakes. Salima made one with that shot that Melvyn mentioned earlier. But
Yeah.
I've looked at that over and over again, and every time I see that, Saliba, that was a silly pass. But he closed him down very quickly and forced the player to shoot wide. I thought he put pressure on him. So there were mistakes. Kiwior, we can say that, okay, again, it was maybe a bit of a rusty performance. He allowed that shot that Raya saved to occur because of his defending. But I think generally the team got together. They came together in the end and they found a way to win. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was, again, there was the whole debate. What's he going to do? What are the changes he's going to make? He made 3 changes from the Bayern game. Obviously, as Tomiyasu, coming out of the team, saying it was a precaution. We hope it was a precaution. But, it's just a shame that he's picked up yet another knock. Jesus came in for Martinelli and Jorginho dropped out, did it as well for Trossard as well. So Trossard slotted in, so Havertz went back to the 8 position and was pretty fortunate to remain on the pitch because again, this tackle here, I mean, I had to show it. I mean, couldn't believe my eyes that because his reaction straight away was like he broke it. He saw before he even touched the ground. He's looking to the bench. He's waving. And I'm thinking, oh no, this is another Eduardo again. And when you see the replays, you actually are thinking, how on earth has his leg not snapped? And I was talking to someone on Twitter yesterday, and it's like you had that tackle, and you had Kiwior's in the second half when Hang clicked Kiwior, and again Kiwior had to get himself out of the way. And it's almost like, and I don't think nothing happened. I think Kilman got a yellow card. Wasn't reviewed by VAR. If it was, they said, "Oh, it's okay, it's fine." And it's almost like it's a stage where we have to get a bad injury, we have to get a leg break before someone gets a red card, doesn't it, Melvyn? Because I think what happened with the Eduardo one, I actually think I remember it was Mike Dean was the referee that game, and when that happened, I don't even think he was going to give him a yellow card. He wasn't going to give him a red. He was going to give him a yellow until we saw the severity of Eduardo's leg hanging off, and then he said, "Oh no, it's got to be a red." I mean, that's a scandalous tackle, and at the time it was. I think it was 0-0 at the time. Possibly, I'm not sure whether we were running up by then, but it just keeps happening, doesn't it? It's shocking.
Well, it's absolutely amazing, and I think the more I watch Arsenal, the more I see the way we get treated, the more I think there is a vendetta. Going back to another tackle, the centre half of Stoke against Ramsey. Yeah. So what do the Stoke supporters do every time they see Ramsey? They used to boo him. Explain to me how that works. Yeah. Was Ramsey wrong to have his ankle shattered? Should he have said, no, ref, don't send him off? Because, I just can't get in my head what these supporters are like. They are really, really, I just don't get it. And as you say, I've seen Eddie got sent off once. I think he came on a sub and he did a tackle on the halfway line. And it was a foul, but it was no way. It wasn't even a booking, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he gets sent off. You're going, hold on a minute. I don't get it anymore. I can go through loads of this. I'm not going to bore you with it. You've been there, you've seen them all, and you're thinking it's 2-tier refereeing. Yeah. People will shout at me, "You're biased." I am biased, but you can also be biased and be right. And I believe I'm right. I've seen things where Arsenal players get sent off for like what? I mean, it was pointing out to me the other day that the referee that sent off Tommy first game of the season at Palace for the long throw when he shouldn't. He wasn't in the foot at the time, and that not even a push. I think he touched the geezer's shirt. Ayew went over. Yeah. It's the same referee that allowed, and I'm not saying that's why we got beat. I think it might have been the same one in the Villa match when Villa were wasting time and taking ages. It's the same ref with the throw-ons, and you're thinking, what's changed apart from the colour of the shirt? Yeah, and it really winds me up. And if we get something our way, which we do. Right, we get it. We might get 3 decisions out of 9, or 3 out of 12 we get. And everyone's, but look at you got a decision.
Yeah.
Probably. But it's not even money, mate. If it's even money, we accept it. But it's not. The scales are like that. They're not even like that. And it's a wind up. And as you say, Michael, are they waiting for an Arsenal player to get a break leg and he goes, you know what? You've broken his leg. Let me see what rule it is. Yeah, I suppose I've really got to send you off. Like they look for an excuse not to send someone off, and yet they look with an Arsenal player. How can we send him off? And it does sound shocking what I'm saying, but it's what I believe.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's 100%. I think even Neil, we've seen it where Arsenal. I can't remember what it was. A game a couple of weeks ago where there was a goal. It's either a goal was disallowed or a decision wasn't given against the opposition team, and Dave Jones, the Sky presenter, was going on and on about it. It was like it had already gone.
The penalty, Jesus, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was going on and on about it. And after the game, half time, he went on about it, and it was like, and then at full time, again, it was going on about it. It's like whenever we get a decision that goes for us, it's like they want to break it down, forensic. They want to get CSI squad out and say, why were they giving it and stuff like that. But when it's the opposition, it's like, oh well, it's all right. That we just skirt over that. I mean, it's funny, I like Gary O'Neill, and I think he's going to be a good manager, wherever he goes. But it's funny when these managers, they talk about, we didn't deserve to lose 2-0 and we played really well. It's funny how no one asks him about, well, what about you? What do you think? You think you were lucky to get, to end with 9 players on the pitch? No one asks that question. But if it was the other way around, for a fact, Arteta, they would have went in 2-footed on him. They would have said, "Oh, you were lucky to not have those 2 red cards."
Let me show you it again. They go, wouldn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing, and that's the thing. That's it's not bias. It's facts. That's exactly what they do. But yeah, so lucky that Havertz is
it could have been a career-ending injury, guys.
Oh yeah, that was shocking. I couldn't believe it. I was looking at it, and he's actually did trap his leg in the turf.
He got caught. And
then it was a scissor. Then it was a scissor follow through as well.
Did you notice he was banging the floor, Havertz?
Yeah.
That worried me when he was banging the floor. I thought, my God, he's in trouble, this geezer.
But yeah, it's the fact that he looked around and he's looking at the bench and he's waving. And it's like, you've seen that. Ramsey did that. When Ramsey did his leg, he was doing the same thing. He was waving his hands straight away because he knew he broke it.
Melvyn, Diaby was the other one. Sorry, Michael. Diaby was the other one. He had a bad one, didn't he?
Disgraceful. Did the guy got sent off? I'm not sure if he did.
He did. He did. He did.
Did he?
He
I
did.
thought he might have got a yellow. No, he got sent off, did he?
No, I think he got sent off. Smith, I think it was his name.
Smith, he finished up being a minicab driver.
Yeah.
That was too good for him.
Wow.
Yeah, it was shocking. But again,
Dan Smith,
that was it, I think. But yeah, it was shocking, wasn't it? He just leaves such a nasty taste in the mouth. And then he proceeded to get booed for the rest of the game. Saka was booted up in the air all the time, and as usual, and he was getting booed as well.
Why do they boo Saka now, Michael? Seriously, the last season, pick away fans boo him. What is not home fans? Sorry,
I think they think he goes down too easy.
Oh my God!
And I think it's because of the whole. He gets overprotected and stuff like that.
It's quite the reverse. It's the reverse.
It is. It's and then they started having a go at him about him and White, didn't they? I don't know if you heard. The Wolves fans were singing that they're both not very good, and again it was the whole England thing again, and that's what we said at the time with Southgate coming out with his stuff, that'll be used as ammunition, and to be fair, Ben White sort of just laughed it back at him. There's footage of him tapping them and stuff.
Can I just interrupt when you mentioned that about Saka and White? I forgot, when I was sitting there watching the game, I heard the Wolves fans taking the mickey out of Arsenal. You're not going to win the league or something like that. All these songs and you're not very good in England and all that. Well, were we playing Man City yesterday? We weren't, were we? Because what have Wolves won?
Exactly.
Can you write it on the back of a postage stamp in big capital letters and you'll have space to put your name? Because I just do not understand why they're... Who are they to talk about what we have and we haven't?
Yeah.
And who plays for England that plays for Wolves?
Exactly.
Yeah,
the centre half was the last one. Their captain, the centre half, went to Everton. I'm bad at names, as Neil knows. recently. You know, the guy I'm talking about, decent centre. But no one, very few players that play for England play for Wolves, and they're having a go. It's unbelievable.
The irony from
the intelligence has gone.
Yeah, it just goes out the window. Yeah. Because it sounds funny, and they've had a few beers down them. It's it's what 7:30. It's a late game. They thought, okay, I'm going to say something that sounds funny, and they just want people to sing along. But yeah, they look. I was thinking exactly the same. Just look bloody stupid, didn't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Neil, in the second half, I think Trossard, Odegaard said in the second half it was an organised performance. Never heard that phrase before for a game, but we didn't really look in that much trouble, did we? I know it was 1-0 and everything, but we didn't look like we were going to concede. I think David Raya came out at one stage and made a few claims. Second half it looked very confident. And he's now clear of the Golden Glove. Looks like he's got a very, very good chance of getting that, which is great for him. But it wasn't until late on when Partey came on that we seemed to go up again. Especially, I think Saka did. Saka seemed to get a bit peeved off with some of the stuff he was getting from the crowd, and in the last 10 minutes, I think he turned it on a little bit. And Mr. Declan Rice, who I don't know where he looked like he was right on his feet the last 70 plus minutes, and then Partey came on. And he just looked like an absolute maniac running around, and he tremendous run. And then he obviously made a tremendous run, which led to Odegaard's goal. Do you think Partey is going to be key in unlocking this part of Rice that we need in these final games, especially with who we've got? Obviously, we know who we got next on Tuesday. He scored against them, didn't he? He got the goal which got us back into the game. We know who we got at the weekend. The World Cup final for that mob. They've been waiting all season for this, and they've had the 2 weeks off. And they've got all the all the energy drinks that they could wish for, and they've got the suntan and everything. All they've got themselves, got their shirts with the monogrammed, Arsenal and the date on it and everything. So they've got their cup final, they've got their complimentary tickets, they've got all the families coming over for that. We know what's going on, but
they're having the bus washed.
Got the parade bus, yeah. They've got the parade bus ready.
Let's be
all of that stuff.
Got the one from 1743.
And the most important thing, they've got the printers and DVD printers ready. They're ready to press print if they get the result. So they can pump it out. You've got all that stuff ready.
Mike. You're on a roll.
I've told you about it. When these guys come in my eyesight, it's in my crosshairs. That's it. I'll just lose it.
It's your DNA, isn't it?
Going back to it. Sorry, Neil. Going back to it. I digress.
I don't even know what the question is.
Neither do I.
I'll just talk. Can I just talk, please? Let me talk. Shush, Michael. Can I just say, before I talk about that, I do want to just follow on from the last topic. I'm sorry to bring it up, but it incensed me. That ref, Trossard's yellow. Melvyn is spot on. It's not. We are biased because we're Arsenal fans. There's going to be bias. It's natural. Every fan of every club is going to have a certain amount of bias. Yeah, we can be a football fan, but at the end of the day, we are the club that we support. So there is bias. However, if you want one example of the bias and the agenda, that game is the one to watch. Trossard's got a yellow card for what? Right, very early on. And then have the guy at the tackle on Havertz, nothing. There was another incident where Trossard was literally body bundled onto the floor. And then following that, I think, was it Saka got thrown on the floor? Or it was two of them got taken out within the space of a second. And all right, after that, the referee stops the game. The other one where Havertz gets injured, I think Rice takes out the man because he knows he has to stop the game because the referee wasn't stopping the game. So I think he actually did that to stop the game because probably Rice, no one knew the extent of his injury at the time. So I just found the refereeing an absolute shambles. I really did. So I just wanted to mention that. Anyway, I'll go back to I think what the question was before you went off your assassination group. Of that team. Partey, yes, when he came on, it transformed. Rice, I think, was already doing things. I think there was one player, outfield player on the pitch that was literally Odegaard always is consistent. Let's not forget that. But I think Rice was trying his best. He was covering a lot of the pitch. He was running everywhere. But when Partey came, I mean, he almost like found another gear from somewhere, a secret gear. And one thing that I will criticise about our team, it's not always about the positives. I will say one thing. That run that Rice did right down the pitch, and there was no one following him up. Yeah. And that has been a little bit apparent lately, because I was talking to someone, it might have been Lee at the game that we were talking about off air, Melvyn. I was saying that why don't we have players coming into the box to assist someone who's running down the flanks or running through the middle? There's no cover. There's no one to assist. That's something we need to do a bit more of, to have that player with the off chance that the ball comes to them, they can just poke it into the net, because Rice did all the hard work and there was no one there. Maybe they weren't expecting him to make the run, but even then you still got to improvise. You still got to think that there could be a chance from that. But he looked absolutely awesome. And there's a couple he was doing the usual interceptions and breaking up the play, and he just looked monumental. And it's all really weird because Partey comes on and Rice just gains size. He just becomes this gigantic figure. And I think in the last couple of games that we lost, I think we lost a bit of our midfield domination, if you like. And I think when we saw yesterday and Partey came back, I thought we found a bit of, I know it was only 10 minutes or 15 minutes with injury time, but I thought that, hang on a minute, this could be the answer to the next few games. Now, I was speaking to Jack about it, and he did make a good point. He goes, I don't think Partey's going to play game after game because obviously he has got a history of injury and whether he can sustain it. But I think he probably will, and he should feature now for quite a big significant part of the last few games. Because if he can have this relationship with Rice where it frees up Rice to do more of the work going forward, and you've got Partey sitting protecting the back, I think that makes sense. I'm not saying for a minute Jorginho hasn't done a good job, because I think he has. I think he's been fabulous. I think we've had the team, because otherwise we wouldn't be where we are. We have managed to cope this far, having different variations and combinations. But I thought Partey's introduction was great for Rice, and I think if that's the way to do it, at least maybe not for 90 minutes, but surely for a part of the game, I think that's the way to go. But I won't be surprised if he's included on Tuesday. But time will tell, and see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout. I think it's going to be Jorginho or Partey. I think it's probably most likely to be Jorginho, just so Rice can be in that left eight, and that's probably going to be Havertz up front, probably pushed up to the false line, because obviously Chelsea their legs will be gone a little bit after that defeat against City the other day, which they should have won. And speaking of City, obviously Pep's got his wish in terms of reducing getting rid of the replays in the FA Cup, which I think is a scandalous thing. We've had Arsene Wenger, who's a foreign manager, as we all know, who's come over here and basically respected the FA Cup. He's not taken his team out of the FA Cup like a particular manager did, just because of the World Club Cup. But you won't hear anything about that. Apparently, it was Arsenal that disrespected the FA Cup because we used to play our reserves in it, and people used to say, "Oh, we've diluted the competition." We didn't pull ourselves out of the competition when we were the holders in 1999, but that's another story. But you've got Pep and Klopp, and since day one, they've come over here and they've complained about the number of games in the English game. We've been doing it for 100 years, but these two have bashed and moaned about it and complained and cried. But one of them's not going to be here at the end of the season. He's going to swan off and do whatever. But he's got his wish. There's not going to be any more replays. Guardiola, he's got another 2 years maybe, and then he'll be off as well and stuff like that. And he's moaning yesterday about the fixture congestion. When Arsenal have got more games to play in the next 10 games than City have. So does this? This is touching on the party thing again, Melvyn. Is this going to be key now? Does Arteta have to? Does he really need to make sure that he gets the rotation right and gets the minutes in the legs right because of who we've got? You know, who we've got to play. We're not playing no mugs. We know 3 of the teams that we're going to be playing are teams like Theo Walcott said yesterday. You don't need much to get up for those games. You know the history behind them. So, are we in a position now, especially Arteta, that he has to make sure that he trusts his squad now? If he hasn't really for the most of the part of the season, because we've seen those minutes, we've seen the graphics where 7 of the top 10 players in the league who played the most minutes are Arsenal players. So is this where it's going to fall, stand up or fall down, do you think, over the next 5 games?
I think, I don't like to have a go at Arteta, though I do, but I still would never say get rid of it. I think it's terrific. What he's done at this club, you could write a book on, really, where he's taken us from where we've come from. Unbelievable. But I will criticise if I think it's necessary. I think that talk about changing the squad around, I think that's gone. We've had the chance of doing that. That should have been done perhaps a bit earlier in the season, Michael. That should have been with a Saka situation, for example.
Yeah.
You cannot play Saka for 4 seasons every game. And that's what we've done. He's played for England as well, remember. Played in every game for us. I think we wanted to rotate. That was a position you've got to rotate. I don't mean taking him out for 6 games. I mean giving him a break, a week or 2 here and there.
Yeah,
just freshen him out. Look how fresh he looked when we come. All the players did from Dubai. I think he's a player that needs freshening up. I think there's a couple of others I could point out. I think at the moment, I'll tell you someone, and you may or may not agree with me. I thought one of the players yesterday had one of his worst performances of the season for us, and he's a fantastic player. You've got to be on our side, and that was Odegaard. Apart from his stunning goal, I thought to put a thing, he stunk the place out, as the old fashions would say. He just couldn't get it right. He held on. Fabulous goal. Yeah. He held on to the ball too long. He was going in circles without an end result. His passing was a bit off, and also he's always done it, but he's got to learn. If I was him, I'd stay an extra hour behind when the teams are training. When they finish training, I'd stay an extra hour on the pitch and get used to kicking the ball with my right foot. Because again, yesterday he had an opportunity in the box to shoot with his right foot. And he had to skittle it back to his left foot. And you know what happens then. The chance is gone.
Yeah, chance gone.
But he's a terrific player. But I thought yesterday he was the one I thought was going to be dragged off before anybody else, to be honest with you. But he is the guy that when we're playing well, he's the catalyst. He's the guy that makes us tick. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. He's pinging it there, turning, giving it there. And the whole team seems to fit around him. It's beautiful to watch. But with one of those games yesterday, it might be that he's feeling it as well. Perhaps he's played a lot of games as well, remember?
He has.
So he might be like Saka as well, Michael, that perhaps has needed earlier on when we were beating teams 3 and 4-0, could have come off for half an hour. Or a half, if you like. And I think that was our opportunity to rotate. And I think we've missed the opportunity. With Partey, he's so infuriating because we know what a great player he is. He's fabulous to watch. His movement, his shoulder movement, his body movement sends the whole crowd the wrong way. Yeah. And he's terrific. But he's not fit. And when he came, yesterday was the first time when he came on where he didn't look rusty, because I thought that when he's come on for a few cameo performances, to me, he looked like the oil would run out in his body. He really looked rusty. But if we can get him to play 50% of the time allotted on the pitch, it will be a big, big boom for us. It really will. And he's one of those players that makes the difference. He controls the tempo of the game as well, which we miss sometimes. So, with Neil, he's correct. If we can get him playing, I mean, it'd be a big difference for us. So as I say, with the forwards, it's frustrating. No one's mentioned, because we won 2-0, and I love the guys, Neil knows, Martinelli's miss. 6 months ago, he'd have put that in blindfolded. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't. Before the goal, he would have moved one of his limbs. The ball would have been in the net. And yet, when he was going through, you felt like he may not have scored.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was offside or not. I don't even recall that. It didn't matter. There's something lacking. There's a spark lacking. Is it because he hasn't been played enough? Is it because he's played too much? Where's his dropping confidence gone? I don't know. Because we know what he can do, but for some reason he's not doing it. Is he missing out in our left back? I'm not knocking the left back because he's given 100%, though he made that shocking mistake yesterday. Is it because he hasn't got the support of a left back? There's a proper left back, if you know what I'm saying. Inside, move, give it and go. Because though Key was not the greatest passer of the ball, he's not too bad, but he's not that little give and go fullback that you love to see. And also in midfield, he hasn't got, when he has Havertz playing there, Havertz can be everywhere. He plays all over the park. He hasn't got that confidence to know Martinelli. If he turns, he just flick it. There's someone there. There's not always someone there. He's normally 1 against 1 or 1 against 2. And that's disappointing for me.
Yeah, you're spot on, because I think it's always been the case, hasn't it? The right-hand side is very much, we know what that is, that triangle with Odegaard, Saka and White, and it's pretty much been like all season. On the left-hand side, it's been totally out of flux, isn't it? He's not had Xhaka there, obviously you miss Xhaka. Havertz has been there, but then he's played in 2024 pretty much as a false 9. So then, that's been changed with Rice being in there. The left back situation, it's been Zinchenko, then Kivior, Tomiyasu. It would have been, I'm sure, if he'd have been fit, it would have been Timber, and it would have been there wouldn't have been an issue there. That would have been that sort of partnership. But you're right. I mean, we've been saying it as well. Something's happened with Martinelli. Whether it's the injury that he's had, some people are saying it was really bad. It was a cut that went deep to the bone. Maybe he was a bit frustrated that he didn't come back straight into the team, because I think there were occasions where we wanted him to get back into the team and he wasn't. There's been some of his body language. He's switched off a couple of times for the last couple of goals we conceded. So there seems to be something. Maybe it's just frustration. But that chance you said he could have squared it to Saka as well. Saka was kicking off with him because he was there for a tap in, and it was like he just didn't see him, and it's like that's unlike him. But it's we're going to need obviously all these boys up for it and on the side. It's going to be interesting Tuesday, right, Neil? Because we know what Chelsea are about. They seem to raise it for big games this season. Somehow, despite how bad they've been generally, but they're on a little bit of a run. What do you do? Obviously, because we're looking at obviously one game at a time now. That's the only way you can do. But what would you do for that for Tuesday, Neil? Would you bring Martinelli back in to start up against their right back? I think Gusto, who's a bit rapid, he can push him back a bit, or because Saka's going to get volleyed left, right, and centre by that Cucurella, because that's what he does against him. He goes for the back of him all the time. So would you bring him back in, or would you put Jesus back over to that side? What's your options for that?
Cucurella. I've got another name for Cucurella, don't you, Michael? Which you can't mention here. I can't stand that bloke. I cannot stand him. This is a bit of a dilemma, because we don't forget Trossard as well. Do we play Jesus in the middle? Do we go back to Havertz going a bit further up? It's a difficult one. I personally, it's so tough. I would actually start. I would go with Trossard, Havertz, and Saka up front. I really would. And then you've got the options of potentially bringing Jesus and Martinelli on if things are not working out, or even if they are working out one way or the other. But for me, for following on from what Melvyn said and what I said earlier, I think we should have a chance with Partey as well. I think he needs to play, and I wouldn't even mind him starting. I know you said maybe Jorginho, Michael, but there was something about seeing him and Rice together that really inspired a lot of confidence in me that we will regain that domination that we've had in midfield with those two potentially. Maybe Jorginho might be a little bit tired. I don't know. But Rice is full of energy, as he showcased it yesterday. he seemed to get better as the game wore on. That was, you think that top players would be tiring out, but he found almost like a second and a third win. So I don't have any problems with him starting. I would go with that one. I would say Havertz, Trossard and Saka, and then maybe change potentially, because Martinelli, something's not right. We've been discussing it, Melvyn, on our group, and we've been saying that is it an internal thing? Is it a injury thing? Is it a confidence thing? There's something's not quite right. Something has fallen out of place. A cog's fallen or something in his machine is not working correctly, and we need it to come back very, very quickly. Whether that the answer is to throw him in the lion's den straight away to start against Chelsea, who knows? It might work. It could be the answer, but I don't know. I think we should maybe play it just a tiny bit safe. But then if things aren't working out, we have got the options on the bench to feature him. My only other one is, do we play Kiwior or Zinchenko? Because Kiwior, I like him, by the way, guys. I do like him, but he's been a little bit frail and a little bit suspect of the last 2 or 3 games, I think, all that he's played in. Yeah. And Zinchenko, we all know, can't defend, but he can offer the attacking option. And does that work better with Martinelli on the left, or does that work better with Trossard up there, or what? It's a difficult one for me to know for sure. I would stick to pretty much the same team that we have, our best team, with the exception of maybe, as I said, Partey now coming in. That's what I would do. But I still think a lot of people are going to be starting to be critical of Havertz yet again. But I still think he's very, very useful, because even in yesterday's game, he was still getting into positions which are really upsetting the defence for me. He causes them a bit of confusion. And now he did have that chance where I think Ben White headed the ball back into the penalty box, and he kind of swung round and he shot straight at the keeper. And then obviously the commentary, he could have just done that either side. But it was quite a quick decision to make. It's not always easy to do. It's not an easy technique. But he can come in and score goals for you. And there'll be nothing nicer for him to be playing and scoring against his old club as well. We've had Rice do it. We've had Trossard do it at Brighton. And then if he does it against Chelsea, that'll just be the hat trick. Yeah. But he's not on a suspension, is he? Because of the yellow cards. Havertz isn't on any...
I think he's past the level now. I think there's a certain window. I think the window was last week, I believe. Okay. Yeah. So he will be an option to play him then, right there. All right. So I would go with something like that, Michael. I mean, and just a quick mention to Raya. He's grown on me big time. I hated the fact that Ramsdale had been treated the way he had. And I wasn't Raya's, not because I had anything against Raya, but it's because I had so much for Ramsdale. But to be honest with you, he is very, very calm. He's very, very calm, and he's good with the crosses. And I think he's introduced. For me, he was one of the calmest players on the pitch yesterday. I really believe that after the 2 losses that we had, and I think he's starting to prove himself. And look, he's potentially going to win the Golden Glove, so that sums that up as well. So just wanted to give him a quick shout too. So
yeah, great record for him as well in the clubs. 6 consecutive away clean sheets as well. I think tied with Man United and Chelsea with that. So let's hope he can keep. We've got 2 more away games, so let's hope he can keep 2 more clean sheets that we've got away. So just obviously touching on that, Melvyn, we'll have a look at the table. Obviously after Liverpool's result today. They're level with us, obviously some goal difference, and obviously City have the game in hand, and obviously by the time that they play on Thursday, they'll have 2 games in hand on both us and Liverpool. I don't know if you saw that they did a cross check on the results City had last season in the corresponding fixtures against the teams that they've got left to play. And they dropped 7 points against those teams that they played in the corresponding fixtures. We don't need to drop 7 points. We just need to drop just 1 or 2. That would be enough, I think. But does that sort of build some hope in you? Because yes, we have some tough games to play, but this isn't the City of last season. We've not heard them come out complaining about fixture congestion like they did last season, because everything was going so well for them, wasn't it? You know, you've got Bernardo Silva coming out and literally crying, saying the same thing as Pep. But can you see them dropping anything between now and then? I personally think they will, and I think it could be on Thursday against Brighton because they'll have a free run, and I think Brighton can turn up. But what's your thoughts, Melvyn, on just what's to come?
I look at it differently because I don't think I'm not thinking about Man City. We know what they can do, and if they drop 7 points against these teams last season, it's irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant. Absolutely, it doesn't matter. It's on the day, on the night, and we know what they can do at the end of the season. I'm just concentrating on us getting 3 points every game. And I think, Michael, if it's a very big word in life.
Yeah.
If we get 3 points, I'm fairly confident we'll win the league.
Yeah.
I'm not saying what match it'll be. I'm not a soothsayer. I don't know. I ain't got a clue. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow yet. But I'm just thinking that sometimes this, as you know, this part of the season, strange results happen. So let all the strange results happen for everyone else. Just let us win game by game and see. Because I'll tell you something. I know that you say that second people forget. But if we win every game from now to the end of the season and we don't win the title, it'll be one of the greatest title challenges. Well, it will be the best title challenge I've ever seen without us winning it, because we are against two juggernauts at the moment, not one. We've never been in a position to having to beat two juggernauts, and these two sides are talked about like the greatest thing this side of the Mississippi. Really, they are in football terms. And if we finish second to City by a point or two or whatever it is, it'd be 2 points if we win every game.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal what we've achieved. Absolutely phenomenal. And you can turn around and go, if that one had hit the post and that had come out. And no. To be on the same, eating the same food at the same table as Man City, that is fantastic. And if we win every game, I do believe we will win it. I do, because things will happen. So let us just concentrate. I'm just concentrating. Everyone can do what they like. I'm concentrating on us per game, and see where that takes us.
And it's you're spot on. It's not just that we're up there; it's what we've done against them as well, isn't it, Neil? That we've taken 4 points off both of them, and where we've come from. From when the day before Arteta joined. City smacked us, didn't they? And he was in the opposition dugout, and then some of the results we've had under him against those two. The early years, and now we're at a position, where as Melvyn said, we're eating at the top of the table with them, but we've got results against them. We've got significant results from them. We've taken 4 points off both of them. Again, I know what you're going to say in terms of taking one game at a time, isn't it? Now, and it's just all zero focus on Tuesday night under the lights. Get the Emirates absolutely jumping again and turn Chelsea over like we did last year.
No, absolutely. I think at the end of the day, Melvyn, the other thing what you said is absolutely spot on. It would be an amazing achievement, and let's not forget this is Arteta's first ever managerial job. So for him to actually achieve that on his inaugural position as a manager, or with his first club, that's another a testament to him. And there's no reason why we can't win five games. There isn't, and you're right. We could end up winning 5 games and still not winning it. But what more can we do? We've done everything. That's all I was saying. I think I was so bitter and twisted after the loss against Villa. I was just then saying to Lee and Wayne, who I was with on the day, I said, well, the only thing we can do now is just ensure that we take it to the last game of the season. Let's not give it to City. Let's just push them all the way. Whether that means it leads us to winning the title or not, because I said, it's not just City. Liverpool are also going to be with us as well. So you're right, Melvyn. It's not normally title races have been between two juggernauts, haven't they? Historically been to only that year when there was a certain 3-horse race where or a 2-horse race or a 3-horse race. No, it was 2-horse race, wasn't it? Where they came third, a certain team. When we came runners up, do you remember there was that one year?
Yeah.
The two, that's the one. Yeah, because only they could do that, can't they? But generally, it's been between two. But we're actually, you're right. We're actually sandwiched between two huge or giants of the game at the moment. I still don't think they're the best. They're not the greatest ever rivalry, by the way. Let me just put this in. Ferguson versus Wenger was the greatest rivalry. Some of the key players within those teams were the greatest rivalry, i.e. Keane, Vieira. That era was the best that I've ever seen in the Premiership. Not being biased, because half of that applause goes to Man United as well. That for me was a proper rivalry in Premiership football, as far as I'm concerned. But it is a very, very strong, high quality game now, and to potentially come up very close to them, as Melvyn said, is spot on. But no, you're right. For me, I'm just looking at it one game at a time. Get the business done. It doesn't matter how ugly it is as well. It doesn't matter. Obviously, we'd all like to see some nice football. It'll be great to wallop Chelsea 6-0, as we've been walloping some other teams, and have it scoring a hat trick. That would be amazing. But I just think let's just get the win. Let's keep the momentum going. I think we will win against Chelsea. I think we will. I mean, I know they've started to play a bit better at the moment, and they're going to raise their game against us. But I think this win. That's how important this win against Wolves was. If we'd even got a draw, I think that would have been it. That would have been curtains. The players' heads would have just dropped, and it probably would have hindered us for the next two games. And the next two games are the two games we have to win because of who they are. And Michael, you were saying that we're taking points now with the bigger teams. We're not just doing it against City and Liverpool. We're doing it against Chelsea. Used to hammer us. Man United used to hammer us. We're taking points off them now. No one seems to mention that. Before it was like they've not beaten the big six for so many years. They've not got to look at the results. Now, in fact, I think we're top of the table, aren't we, at the moment against our rivals? So it's a massive turnaround. I'm positive. Do you want a prediction?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Yeah, should I go for a prediction? 4-1.
4-1. Yeah, I love that.
4-1.
Love that.
Look at Melvin's face.
Melvin's just be happy with a 1-0. Get the 3 points.
Definitely.
And roll on to.
I think it will be 2-0 though. I think we go 1 up.
Yeah. Just hope we. Yeah, I think. The thing is about the teams that we've got to play left. I mean, I know again we're looking at one game at a time, but I think with the teams that we're going to be playing, they are going to be somewhat on the front foot. Maybe by the time we play Everton, who knows what will be required. They're likely, whether they're going to be up or not, whether we need to win that game or not, or do Everton need a point, and then they, all that stuff. But I think, the next 2 games especially, they're going to be out on the front foot, especially, Highline FC. They're going to be, camped on the halfway line and trying to do what they can to try and dent us. And I think Chelsea can only play that way on the front foot as well because they've got so many young players, especially the likes of Palmer and stuff and everything, and they're going to try and. I don't think they're going to try and be clever and try and sit in any sort of low or mid block or whatever. I think they're going to just try and play because they have got some good players, and I think they might get a little bit of joy. But I think we'll like you said, Neil, I think we'll be a little bit too smart for them. That was one of the worst performances we've had, wasn't it? Away up there at Stamford Bridge until the last 20 minutes. I think when Trossard came on, and then Rice got his goal, and then Trossard got the equaliser. And I think apart from Villa, we've kind of got the number on the teams that we've kind of had bad results against, and Fulham as well. But no, I agree with you guys. I think we've got the bit between our teeth. Yesterday was vital that we got the result. Kept a clean sheet. You see Liverpool win today. Yep, they got the 2 goals back up again with the goals against, but they still conceded. You see, they're always going to concede. I think they're always going to give people the chance, and I think we are just that little bit stronger at the back there with the two boys that we've got at the back who are amazing. Who are amazing again. Gabriel. If Gabriel and Saliba don't get in the teams of the year, and Ben White, well, I think we need to ask some questions. But that's another.
But look at it. Look at the statistic where out of the 7 top players that's played the most minutes, 6 of them are Arsenal players.
Yeah.
So that's even more of a pat on their back that they're playing the most minutes, and yet we're still up there. We're still up there fighting at the top of the tree.
Yeah, Saliba's played every minute, hasn't he? He's played every minute. I think Gabriel's come off. Obviously, he didn't start at the start of the season, did he? I think he missed the first couple of games.
That's right. Got dropped
Until we, until the party at right back experiment was crashed after the Fulham. I think when we drew 2-2 Fulham, he said, "I'm not doing that anymore." And Saliba, ever present so far. Touchwood, he lasts the next 5 games, but yeah, I think we'll just be a little bit smart for Chelsea, I think, and again they'll be hurting a little bit from the semi-final defeat. So let's hope we can get a couple of early goals against them, and then just like control the game and see it out. But yeah, good stuff, guys. At least we're back on it. We're back on the right foot. We've got a win in April. I think that's only Arteta's second win in the month of April, or something like that. Some crazy stuff.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Which is insane. Just shows you how things are sort of falling away. But yeah, we've got one under the belt. Let's get another one. So we're ready for the World Cup final at the weekend. And go on, Melvyn. I know you want to laugh, mate. Go on.
I'm just saying that, you're saying about getting their bus ready. Well, they've got to make sure the horse is ready first as well.
That's the last time they won the league, isn't it? It's horse and cart.
Horse and cart, exactly. So I hope the horse is all right as well. Give him a little bit of hay, make sure he's all right, and off they go.
Oh dear. No, thanks very much, guys. Thanks for your time, Melvyn. It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
As always, thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me on.
Hope to have you back on again very soon. Neil, again, always a pleasure, mate.
Thank you. It's always great to do it with Melvyn as well. I really enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great stuff. Thanks for your time. We'll be back after that World Cup final on Sunday. So we'll see.
Intergalactic final.
Yeah, intergalactic World Cup final. Whatever tag you want to run it. We'll be back to talk about that and everything else. Obviously, on the fallout of the Chelsea game as well. And it's after that it's crazy. After that we've got 3 games to go. Who knows what state of play is going to be this close. I was going to say the last time I think the title race ended quite close was when we were involved in it. Apart from the one when Tottenham messed it up, was the season when Eduardo got injured, was the 2007-2008 season when we had 83 points and Man United had 87, and we all know if Eduardo had stayed fit, we would have won it.
Would have won it.
But yeah, it just shows you how close we came. Because that was an amazing team. That was when Wenger's Barca-like project
worked.
That's the closest it got to him doing it. And I think after that happened, it just all fell apart.
Eduardo was magical, and he would have been unbelievable if he never got injured. Unbelievable player. What a shame.
He would have been a legend for us, He could have been
100%.
Oh yeah.
When just before his injury, the form he was in and the goals he was scoring, I just thought, wow, for someone who's actually not a hugely physical player, he had such technique and such skill. It was unreal. That's why I've got his name on my shirt. Because I thought he's one of the guys. I don't normally do names on shirts, but I wanted to honour him. I think he would have been brilliant, Melvyn, Michael. He would have been an unbelievable player for us.
That was his first season, right?
I think so, wasn't it?
That was his first season.
Was it really? Again, I didn't realise that.
Another player that we bought. I think it was his first season.
Maybe you're right. I don't know. I thought it was his second. Okay, maybe you're right.
I'm gonna have a look because
I'd be surprised if it was his first. That would have shocked me if it is. But
I could have sworn that was his first season for us because we bought him and then. Right.
Remember that goal he scored against City? We're talking about City.
Yeah, we bought him in July 2007.
Oh wow!
So that was his first season for us.
What a shame!
That is amazing.
So again,
what impact he made in one under a season.
Yeah, exactly, Melvyn.
Yeah, wow. So he came 2007, 2008. He played 17 games. So he played. Oh, when was it? Yeah, he played 17 games. He scored 4 goals, but he scored a lot of them in Europe and other cup.
League Cup. He scored a couple against Sheffield United, didn't he?
His overall figure. His overall figure in all competitions, he had 31 appearances and he scored 12 goals. So almost a goal every other game.
But he had so much potential. You could.
But that was his first season. That was his first. So again, that's another player we've got first season. Injured, big injury. Timber, big injury. You know what I mean? Like, the curse is.
Well, could have been Havertz as well. Could have been.
Yes, very close.
Yeah.
And also, we bought a guy that was injured, the one with his back. What was his name?
But he scored the goal in the penalty shootout, Melvyn.
Oh, that's true.
Hillhouse is a legend, mate. Don't poo-poo him. He's a legend.
No, sorry.
Yeah, Kim Kalstrom, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the reminiscing as well, going down memory lane with some of our players we've had in the past. And thanks for all the support. This will be out on the usual platforms and on podcast hosting websites, sites, I should say. And we'll be back, like I said, after the Melvin's badged it, the intergalactic, bombastic final. And
bombastic, I love it.
And I'm going to stop now because you're just going to keep going on. You don't want to set me off, Neil. I'm going to stop it. It's Neil. He's sending me messages telling me to keep going, but I'm not. I'm gonna stop there. All right, see you later.
Man, remember, Giroud into the box, and they